a comprehensive look at trends, fund profiles, and more in Exploring ETFs.
We thought it would be a good time now, since we're coming up to the end of another year, to check out a couple of the best performing ETFs of 2017. And for that, we bring in our ETF Research Director, Nina Mishra, and you've got a lot of interesting items here, not the least of which is that 2017 was a big year for ETFs.
Yes, another banner year for ETFs. During the first 11 months of 2017, global ETFs and ETNs, they attracted 600 billion of net inflows, which was 54% more than that in all of 2016, a big jump.
Wow.
Now, most of this money went into, ultra cheap, very popular ETFs that track broader areas of the market. The ETF IVV, which provides exposure to the entire S&P 500 index and charges just 4 basis points in expense ratio, was the top asset gainer.
I see.
But top performers were those that tracked this year's hottest investing trends. So we'll look at a couple of them.
Yeah. And so ETFs attracted a lot of investor interest primarily because ease of use?
Ease of use, convenience. It's very easy to get exposure to the entire market or a particular sector or industry and get a diversified exposure at a low cost. So that is why passive ETFs have been more popular with investors, passive and cheap. But the two which did very well this year, and we'll discuss the reasons why, were actively managed ETFs from this firm called ARK Investment Management.
Okay.
They focused on disruptive innovations, investing in disruptive innovation.
Okay.
And I have excluded leveraged and inverse ETFs from this analysis, focused only on other ETFs.
All right, so the first one that you're going to profile here is the ARKW ETF, right?
So the ticker is ARKW. As I mentioned, it's an actively managed ETF with an expense ratio of 75 basis points. It's up 94% this year, year to date. It holds companies that are expected to benefit from some of the hottest technological innovations in areas like cloud, big data, the Internet of Things, including Bitcoin as well. In fact, this is the first ETF that provides exposure to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has been one of the main reasons for its surge year to date.
Okay.
So if investors want to dig a little bit deeper into this ETF, it's very easy to go to the ETF section of Zacks.com, go to the quote page, and the ticker ARKW. We have a lot of details about this ETF on the quote page, including holdings. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper into the fund, you can go to the sponsors website, which is ARKW's website over here, and you can look at further details about this ETF, and you can see top 10 holdings as well. As you can see that almost 10% of assets are invested in Bitcoin through Bitcoin Investment Trust. It's called GBTC. Other top holdings like Amazon, Twitter, Tesla, NVIDIA, Netflix also have done pretty well this year. So that is why this fund has been the best performer this year.
Okay.
Now, looking at the sector exposure, because it is investing in, hottest technological trends, it has, not surprising, it has about 62% exposure to IT sector and about 17% to consumer discretionary sector.
Okay, and then there's the ARK Innovation ETF.
So this is also actively managed by the same sponsor. Little bit of difference in focus. It seeks to capitalize on innovation across next generation internet, industrial innovation, and genomic revolution. And because of its focus on genomic revolution, it has a much higher exposure to healthcare sector than the first one. Same expense ratio of 75 basis points. It's up about 91% this year. Now again, you can go to the quote page on Zacks.com, look at further details. We have expense ratios, we have a chart, we have holdings as well. And again, if you want to dig a little bit deeper into the fund, you can go to the fund sponsors website through our quote page and look at top holdings, performance. And as you can see, top holdings are again Bitcoin Investment Trust, about 9% exposure. Tesla, Twitter, those are again companies which have done pretty well this year. But GBTC is the main reason why this ETF has also surged 91% year to date. And as I mentioned, if you look at sector exposure, it has more than 38% exposure to information technology and about 35% exposure to healthcare sector because of the focus on genomic revolution. Now, since we talked about the Bitcoin Investment Trust, which is a top holding in both these ETFs, almost 10% of funds, assets of both these ETFs are invested in the Bitcoin Investment Trust. Its ticker is GBTC. It's an open-ended OTC traded investment trust. It's very expensive. It charges an expense ratio of 2%, as you can see from the quote page on Zacks.com. And again, you can go to the home page of GBTC, the external page, and you can see further details about Bitcoin Investment Trust on this page, on this website. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, a lot of investors are invested in this Bitcoin Investment Trust, GBTC, because Bitcoin has been surging. But in my view, this is one of the most ineffective and also expensive ways of owning Bitcoin. You can see here on the GBTC's website, as of close of yesterday, December 19th, its market price was $3,015, whereas it was holding, its Bitcoin holding per share was just $1,684, which was about 1/10 of Bitcoin. So for owning about 1/10 of Bitcoin, you're paying more than $3,000.
Yeah.
And in fact, this has been trading at a premium to NAV, sometimes as high as 125% throughout this year. And so that is why I think for investors who want to take the risk and own Bitcoin, in my view, they are better off buying Bitcoin directly. on one of the exchanges, but you should be aware about volatility and risks involved.
All right, so generally speaking, do you look for the ETF popularity trend to remain intact going into the first part of the new year?
Sure. I expect this trend to remain intact, and we will see more, innovative niche ETF launches next year, and I think the assets for the industry will continue to grow.
Okay, so we should have no shortage of things to talk about
Sure.
in the new year
Yes.
regarding ETFs. Do you own either of these two?
I don't.
Okay, thanks for all of that information. Don't forget, if you want to get over to the ETF section of Zacks.com that Nina alluded to, you can find a lot more information there about ETFs, commentary, ETF profiles, etc. All you need to do is go to the homepage, Zacks.com, use the Funds tab in the top toolbar, and it will help get you there. With Nina, I'm Terry Ruffalo.